Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Molnar here. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather Wintry and Tropical Edition. I was just about ready to retire Tropical Edition, but the National Hurricane Center just put a 10% area across the Southern Caribbean. We'll check and see if this area stands any chance of development or if wind shear from El Nino's developing conditions are just going to rip this one apart just like the previous couple. We'll take a look at also a wintry pattern setting up for the deep south and up the east coast. We could be looking at a potential wintry setup here across parts of the interior northeast and New England for Tuesday into Wednesday. We'll take a look at that system, but a bigger storm could be moving in for later next weekend, heading from the Gulf of Mexico right up the east coast. We'll check and see how plausible this is, and if this is going to be a developing thing as we head into the winter. Speaking of winter, if you haven't watched my 2023-24 Outlook, is in a link in the description down below, and also at the end of this video. Check that out if you haven't already. Let's get into it. So as we take a look at the tropics here, there is not a whole lot to talk about. National Hurricane Center just outlining this in a 10% chance area. It is not very impressive. I'm going to tell you that much here. You can see there is an area of low pressure here along the northwestern coastline of South America, right along the Colombian coastline here. And that's going to continue to try to develop here. You can see it trying to hold on through the 20th into the 21st here. We start to see, a little bit of flare up here south of Jamaica, but it doesn't even look like it's going to bring any shower activity to Jamaica. It just starts to approach Central America here, as you can see on the 22nd. So more towards Nicaragua and maybe eventually Honduras, and maybe bringing some showers as far west as Belize here. So it's something we'll keep an eye on here. It does bear a little bit of watching, but El Nino's effects of wind shear are really getting prevalent as El Nino strengthens. We're late in the season. It is hard to get development even this far south this time of year. So it's something, I'll keep you up to date here. If we just back it up just a little bit, you can see there is going to be a wave. Here it is, moving towards Trinidad, Tobago, the Southern Lesser Antilles as we head towards the 25th here into the 26th. But you know what? The big story is going to be these pulses of energy that come associated with our West Coast systems, come out of the little strengthen around the Western Gulf, and then try to make a beeline up the U.S. East Coast. And that's, that's becoming quite evident. You can see these Gulf Coast lows riding up the East Coast, for these potential coastals and potential nor'easters here. You can see, the intertropical convergence zone is getting pretty far to the south for this time of year. So as you can see here on the GFS, the same system is showing up here. That's why the National Hurricane Center has outlined this in the 10% chance. Now, let's see if there's any, difference here on the GFS. The GFS has a tendency to spin these up a bit more. But you know what? The GFS is actually losing this pretty fast. In fact, your eyes are really drawn, to this system here in the Gulf. This is going to be more of a cold core system. I don't think this has any chance of becoming a warm core system as it makes a beeline up the U.S. East Coast at this point. You can see our system down here by the 25th. Just back it up a couple days. You can see, it does bring some showers here, the GFS by the 23rd into Jamaica, the Cayman Islands. But, there's not a whole lot to talk about here in the tropics. Things are going to be kind of clearing out here. The Gulf of Mexico is going to be open for business for those low pressure systems that ride up the U.S. East Coast. But as you can see out here in the tropics, things look pretty dead. So for the Caribbean here, with the exception for our little tropical system across the Southern Caribbean here, using the European model, you can see most of the rain stays well south of Jamaica and the Cayman Islands here. Most of this heading towards Nicaragua with this wave, it looks like. And then there's our tail end of our front up here towards Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. Heading towards Central America here, maybe upwards of 60 to 90 millimeters, close to 100 millimeters. That's getting up into the 2, 3, 4-inch range here. So here's our forecast here for North America, Canada, and the United States included here. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's going to get pretty interesting here. This is going to be a fast-moving pattern. Momentarily, I'm going to show you the GFS to show you precipitation types because we can't view that on this particular model of the European model, at least on this, this version here. But here we go. This is that low pressure ejecting. You'll see it looks pretty much the same on the GFS. High pressure, really centered over eastern Canada and parts of northern New England here. That's going to be the key as we head through. Let's continue here. So as we head through, say, Monday night into Tuesday morning, there's that area of low pressure heading through the eastern Great Lakes, pulling up a lot of moisture. Onset of precipitation might actually be snow, sleet, and freezing rain across parts of the east. Northern New England, central New England, you're looking at bursts of heavier snow, especially those higher elevations. There's that energy transfer I was talking about there to the coastline, that low pressure initializing right around Long Island and Cape Cod here, bringing moisture up here into southeast Canada and New England, really focusing those snowfall amounts, especially in the higher elevations, and then heading over towards Nova Scotia as we head towards the 22nd and 23rd. High pressure does build in for your Thanksgiving. Look at our next system, though, as we head across the Gulf Coast. Now, look up here into Canada. This is a massive experience, even over here in the Canadian Maritimes. This is a massive expanse of some very beautiful sunny weather, although very clear and cold. But here we go, seasonably cold, I should say. But here we go with that next system coming out of the Gulf of Mexico, the classic El Nino pattern, as I mentioned time and time again here. That's making a run up the U.S. East Coast. This is what I think is going to be, a precursor for this winter. Another low pressure moving up here towards the 25th at 7 a.m. So as we get towards the weekend, the European models here showing something potential maybe for a snowstorm. Yeah, look at this big area of low pressure just east of Boston. I do caution you, this is 156 hours out, but this could be a big, strong low. Well, I'll show you this momentarily on the GFS. It is also showing up on the GFS as well. Behind that, it just leaves an upper level low here into eastern Canada. Western Canada looks really clear, as does the western part of the U.S. Look at this. There it is again, South Texas, bringing some showers and thunderstorm activity. Potential snow here to the north. This El Nino pattern is alive and well. So let's take a look at your winter storm outlook here we're taking a look at the GFS for precipitation types and amounts here. Take a look at the precipitation types here. Essentially what's going on here is we got this area of low pressure ejecting out of the Mississippi Valley, heading right up the Ohio River Valley here. That's going to bring some rainfall, heading on into Tuesday. In particular, here's Tuesday morning. Now, look what's going on here. You got that area of high pressure here across New England. That's going to start getting us some frozen precipitation initially at the start. Now, look at the wraparound here in southern Wisconsin. You're also getting some snowfall here. So you could pick up some slushy snow and sleet here across the Binghamton, Albany, Catskills, parts of the Poconos here, lower Hudson Valley, all the way up here into parts of the Adirondacks, and then southern Ontario. And look at northern part. This is 10 p.m. on Tuesday. Northern and central New England here getting in on the act, as well as most of Ontario and Quebec here, southern Ontario, Quebec, really getting into the snowfall here. Look what's happening here. You have this area of low pressure moving up here into the Great Lakes. There's going to be a new area of development along the mid-Atlantic coastline here, just south of Long Island. So that's what you're going to start to see. There's that low pressure, actually, the GFS starting here into New Jersey and then propagating here towards 1 p.m. Tuesday, the 22nd, up towards Cape Cod here. You can see temperatures are even marginal, though, behind it. There's still some rain showers, even as far back here as Cleveland. So it's not looking like a major winter storm, but for northern New England and interior parts of the Northeast, higher elevations, it looks like a very elevation dependent, especially, in this area, especially above, 1,200-1,400 feet. That's where you're going to get the key, slushy amounts here. And then that low pressure moves out to sea here. And you see here for Thanksgiving, high pressure really builds in here. We got another system, though, that's going to be trying to come up the U.S. East Coast from the Gulf of Mexico. This is that classic El Nino pattern. Look at, there's another low out here, bringing snowfall down here into the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma. That is crazy, but I told you that was coming here. My winter storm, or my winter outlook for 2023-24. If you haven't watched it, it's a link in the description down below, as I said at the beginning of the video. So check that out. This is that pattern we're looking for. Look at it. If you're trying to get home Thanksgiving weekend, late Thanksgiving weekend. This is Sunday the 26th. Look at this. This is some snow, sleet, that kind of precipitation, an area of low pressure. This is pretty far out, so please stay tuned. This could change, but another area of low pressure behind it. We have some piece of energy up here, so it'll be interesting to see how these come together. This could affect some travel plans here in a parts of the interior Northeast, and look at how quickly these systems move, though. This is by 10 a.m. on Sunday the 26th. Low pressure booking it way up into the Northeast. It is switching over to rain, just behind it. So that just proves to you how marginal the temperatures are for snowfall. Now, where you get those heavier snow bursts, that's where, look at this. This is towards the 27th at 7 a.m., Monday the 27th. It looks to be this next system behind it, following right on its heels, is has enough precipitation rates here to tap into some of that cooler air to bring down and bring that heavier snow. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. This is a very active weather pattern as we head towards the 30th. We get another system winding up here across southern Ontario. It does try to tap into some Gulf moisture and East Coast moisture here as well, so we'll have to see how that pans out. So here we go with the snowfall amounts here on the European model. There it is as we head throughout. This is Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening there from the I-81 corridor of Binghamton, Syracuse, Scranton, northeastward there. Look at that. Probably about 1 to 3 inches slushy accumulation. Look at the eastern Catskills there. Above 1,200 feet, you could be getting upwards of 6+ inches. The Adirondacks, White Green Mountains, all the way up into New England there. Look at that. That's a lot of snow. It will be very elevation dependent, though. Here across southern Ontario, Quebec as well, especially southern Quebec. And then look at that with our, just pile it on top here with our potential coastal Saturday night, Sunday, and Sunday night. That could be adding into areas that already saw the snow just before Thanksgiving here. Now, taking a look at the GFS snowfall totals. There it is. GFS is a bit lighter. Still showing the same idea. North central Pennsylvania, northeastward, across the Poconos, Catskills, maybe 1 to 3 inches, especially above that 1,200-foot mark. And then we get up in the Adirondacks, and then look at that. Central northern New England, especially above 1,200 feet, we're getting into those higher snow totals, approaching, high-end advisory, low-end warning criteria here. And as we continue to go out in time, let's see that system over the weekend. A little bit less impressive here on the GFS. Still a similar idea, though. Interior areas, especially higher elevations. You can see this is elevation dependent this time of year as we still, have that sun angle a little bit higher than what you'd like to see for extreme accumulations of snow. Snowfall across the U.S. and southern Canada here. Look at this. So yeah, the Intermountain West really getting snowfall this week. Also, there's the Northeast, Southeast Canada. And so here is that El Nino pattern. I really just wanted to point that out. This is where you're really going to start to pile up a lot of snow here into parts of the Four Corners region, ejecting out into Texas and Oklahoma. Total liquid equivalent precipitation here on the European model. You can see, wow, that is a pretty big expanse of moisture with our system that ejects out of the Mississippi River Valley. Does bring some beneficial rain, I must say, here to parts of the deep south here. Actually, this skipped all the way to the following week. Let's just take this week, actually, all the way to next weekend. There you go. So we're going to be seeing quite a bit in the way of rain. This is great news for the Appalachians and parts of the Deep South where you tremendously need the rain. Look at this, though. This is going to be a big expanse of moisture, and we're going to start watching this pattern where we see these systems come out of the Western Gulf and head right up the U.S. East Coast. So we're going to watch for a very stormy pattern setting up here, especially along the East Coast, where we could see 2 to as much as 3.5 inches of liquid equivalent. So heading into the Northeast here, just zooming in, there's that initial lake effect band, Sunday night and Monday setting up southeast of Lake Ontario. Now here's that next precipitation event moving in from our Ohio Valley system, anywhere in Ohio, anywhere from 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. Western Ohio, even more with that low that moves up in here into the eastern Great Lakes. Now, there's going to be a push of moisture up here into parts of Pennsylvania. Most of this is going to be rain, although some of this in the Poconos and Catskills could be, some wet snow, especially above 1,200 feet. Even into central northern New England here, some of this could be actually in the frozen precipitation as we approach an inch in many of these locations. Now, as we head throughout Thanksgiving, it gets nice, but then we have another push of moisture up here into parts. Look at this. This is going to be quite an event if this unfolds. That's that potential coastal that the European model's bringing up, and that really dumps a lot, another 1.5 inches on top of the system that we have just before Thanksgiving here. So using our CFS medium range climate model, you can see what's going to be happening over the next week. That trough continuing here across the eastern part of North America. That is just going to continue this majorly active pattern. This El Nino pattern is going to continue to push these systems out of the south and then up, make a run up the U.S. East Coast, being attracted to this big old trough up here into eastern Canada. And we just keep getting this pinwheeling. You see this massive ridge out west. That's just going to increase the trough here across the east. Now, one thing to note here, we don't have any blocking up here in Greenland. What that ultimately means is these systems will remain pretty fast moving. So they won't stall along the U.S. East Coast. They will move very fast. So they won't be the massive snowmakers that you would normally see in the middle to latter part of the winter. But look at this. As we head towards December 2nd, we get, a reinforcing trough kicking in here. So some of these could actually pack quite a punch. So our HRRR feature radar for the rest of Sunday night into Monday. This big old low pressure winding up here across the southern plains. That is bringing that intermountain west snowfall, rain on the eastern side of the storm. Look at high pressure dominating, kicking out this area of low pressure out of the northeast. So turning, windy conditions subsiding. That should bring some nice, sunny day for your Monday. But look at here across the southern plains. You got this big area of low pressure. Look at this by 10 a.m. Some of these storms could be pretty strong here across eastern part of Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and into Arkansas here. On the backside, you got snow up by Denver here. The mountains really getting hit hard here. And as we continue throughout the rest of the day, 9 p.m., 8 p.m. on Monday, look what's going on here. Got a big area of showers and thunderstorms. Some of these could be pretty strong. This low pressure heading up towards the Ohio Valley like this, that should continue to push moisture as we head during the overnight hours of Monday into Tuesday morning. Look at this. This is 3 a.m., 7 a.m. Look what's happening here across parts of southwestern Pennsylvania, eastern West Virginia, western Maryland, the mountainous terrain in particular. Look what's the cold air damming is occurring because we have an area of high pressure right up to the north here. That's undercutting a lot of this moisture, overrunning it. And we're going to start to see sleet, freezing rain, and even some wet snowflakes take over. Look at that by Cleveland at 7 a.m. on Tuesday. Rain is moving into your area, continuing throughout the early afternoon hours. But look what's happening here across north central Pennsylvania, down through the Laurel Highlands here. We're starting to see some, sleet, freezing rain, some wet snowflakes, Wyoming Valley here as well. Endless mountain region, wet snowflakes kicking in as this low pressure winds up across the Ohio Valley. And we'll start to see secondary low development as we head on into Tuesday night. And don't go anywhere. I have plenty more weather in just a moment, but check out my affiliate here. Here are some awesome maps.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
So if we take a look at your temperature outlook here, for the exception of northern New England and the Northeast, most areas are pretty mild for this time of year. 40s across the plains. Look at here into South Texas, 70s, as well as in Florida, approaching 80 in most locations. It's actually, this could be a lot colder this time of year. Look at here as we head towards Tuesday. We actually get a warm push up here into the Ohio Valley, 50s all the way up to Cleveland, maybe Erie, Pennsylvania. But we're holding on to this wedge of colder air here in the parts of the mid-Atlantic and Northeast that could actually promote that frozen precipitation, especially Tuesday into Tuesday night. But Wednesday, the warmer air winds out here, along 50s along the coast, 40s inland here. Watch this, though. We're going to start to see colder air spill down here across the northern plains and Midwest Thursday. You start to see these 30s and even 20s up here. And here into northern New England, where you get a snowpack starting to develop here as we head towards Friday. So Thanksgiving Day into Friday here, the day after. Look what starts to happen here. This big cold blast is starting to head to the east here. You can see how this trough's setting up now. It does start to push some warmer air, 40s up into the Ohio Valley in the Northeast. But watch what happens here into Saturday. Yeah, this reinforcing cold shot just continues to build here. You know eventually it's going to have no choice but to head east here. But this system here, ejecting from the eastern Great Lakes and Ohio Valley, does push another warm area up to the northeast here eventually. Extended outlook from hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton's Upper Susquehanna River Valley of New York and Pennsylvania. Monday through Friday here takes us through the Thanksgiving holiday. Look at that. Monday, sunny and cold, 40 degrees. Look at that, 22 for a low. Tuesday, that warm front pushes in from the west. Snow, sleet, freezing rain over to rain. So snow and sleet starting around noon and then heading over towards rain, mixing in by 2 or 3 p.m., maybe up to a slushy inch or less, especially above that 1,200-foot mark there. Tuesday night and Wednesday, rain kicks in. Then we kind of taper it off before noon on Wednesday, up 1/4 of an inch. Thanksgiving Day and Friday looks nice, sunny, and 42 both days. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Don't forget, my winter 2023-24 outlook is in a link in the description down below, also appearing right in front of you on the screen as well. So check that out. Facebook, MeteoMark. Twitter, @WeatherEastern. Also Facebook, Weather Northeastern and Hurricane Northeastern. Thanks for joining me. And don't forget, check out my affiliate link at Trilogy Maps below.